Welcome everyone. Votes have been tallied, opinions have been aired, and now I'm eager to finally reveal the winners of this year's Soundole Chill Out cover competition. We received 47 amazing and diverse entries, and all of the judges were extremely impressed by these videos' high standard. It was grueling and heartbreaking to narrow down the winners for each section, and even our shortlists left out lots of talented creators. Please don't be hurt if your work doesn't appear in this video. I think that if I was giving everybody the acknowledgement they deserve, I'd be editing this video for months. But I'm being very sincere when I say that I found things to enjoy in every single entry. Before we get onto the results, some thanks are due. Thank you to Beau Tran for helping to cover the costs related to prizes. It costs me a few $100s to buy books and ship them internationally, so any help on that front is hugely appreciated. Thank you to my team of judges, Insane in the Rain Music, Ro Panaganti and Laura Platt. It's always reassuring to hear my own musical judgments backed up by these superstars. And lastly, a massive thanks to everyone that entered. It feels really great to see new connections being formed in this community because of this competition, and I definitely feel that this is the most impactful work that I do with my channel. Please keep creating. The world is richer because of what you bring into it. Let's begin. Looking at the tally of audience votes, it's clear that listeners have very diverse tastes. However, one artist clearly unified a lot of people's preferences. This year's Audience Choice winner is Emilien Delcourt for his cover of Run 4 from Final Fantasy XI. Emilien's cover is a fascinating blend of folk and modern instruments wrapped together into a clean and polished presentation. The ensembles chosen here work beautifully with this track's quasi-medieval motives, and the later tranquil variations offer a perfect tonal contrast. The love and care that's been put into this track is clearly on display, and I'm looking forward to hearing more from Emilien in the future. It's always so interesting to see the visually creative ways that people find to present their musical ideas. This year, there were almost as many unique video production approaches as there were musical approaches. Before we look at the winner, there are a handful which I feel deserve a special mention, and I'd like to start by looking at some of the more traditional takes. You don't necessarily need to break the mold to have a professional and compelling video. This year's competition was full of entries which used typical split-screen presentation and video effects to reinforce musical moods or highlight instrumental performances. For instance, this VHS artifact-laden video by Ian Plays works perfectly with his lo-fi approach to Costa del Sol. P2 Sue and Justin Wood's cover of The Ballad of the Windfish uses thematically appropriate B-reel and coordinated shades of green to complement their track's delicate tranquility. And I love the way that this Night in the Woods cover by Eric Allen uses colours and subtle art to echo the presentation of the game itself. There were also a few instances of artists using their videos for storytelling. This storytelling is happening quite literally in this Homestuck cover by Samathes, Subversive Asset, and Alex Martini. The strengths of each artist are on display here, as the narrative is propelled by Samathes' virtuosic vocals and Subversive Asset's writing and interpretive dance. And with this Pokemon suite by Fst, a more gestural story is presented through an evocative animatic. These are all amazing works which I really enjoyed, but I think our winner in this category took things to another level. Let's take a look. Moontail's mashup of themes from Chrono Trigger and Celeste is accompanied by a 3D animated sequence which made my jaw drop. Apart from the trees, grass, and strawberries, All of the assets for this were handcrafted by Moontails for this video. That's already a significant amount of work, but what I really love is the way that musical themes are introduced by visual signifiers. Clearly, a lot of thought has gone into making this video a cohesive artistic work, which takes the listener on a magical journey. Thanks so much, Moontails, for sharing your work with us. I think your diverse skills set a high bar to follow for next year's competition. Like I mentioned earlier, it was immensely difficult to narrow down our picks in the audio category. I'm definitely arbitrarily excluding a lot of impressive videos by doing this, but I wanted to give mention to a handful of exemplary entries which barely missed out on a podium point but impressed us nevertheless. There were lots of entries which presented us with unique and effective ensembles which we typically don't hear much, like this ukulele jazz arrangement by Adam Inouye. Or this bass-centric arrangement by Gunderslam. Or this charming and intimate ensemble by Kane White. Of course, there were plenty of musicians working in established forms and genres, executing their ideas with the utmost facility. I'm particularly impressed by this warm and delicate electric piano solo by Daniel Capo. In a similar cozy vein, this acoustic arrangement by If Not is an absolute masterpiece, representing some of the best work I've heard by an artist I really admire. At the other end of the chill emotional spectrum, this driving groove by Zohar Emulator had me happily nodding along throughout. And this live recording by Pit Tan's V2R piano trio showcases the wondrous sensitivity, communication, and nuance of all the musicians involved. It's the sort of work I'd be anxious about producing myself, and they make it look easy. All of those videos feature stellar instrumental performances, but there was plenty of cool stuff happening in the area of pure production and editing too. Maxi Demand's sweetly layered mix uses some of the best lo-fi ideas heard in this competition. And Rebecca Tripp's attention to detail when it comes to instrumental programming really elevates her in the field of synthetic orchestration. There are plenty more I could mention which I feel horrible for excluding, so please, if you haven't, check out the full playlist of entries. You'll almost certainly find some gems in there that haven't come up in this video. That being said, it's time for the main event. Here are the audio category winners for this year's competition. DS Music's cover of Tokyo Daylight from Persona 5 shows off a rich musical and theatrical skill set. I love the alternation between filtered and rich textures, and it features one of the most compelling solos of the competition, especially because of this moment. While this entry placed third for its audio, it would be remiss of me to not mention all the clever video stuff going on here. The colour filters, the vintage artifacts, and the Persona-like presentation are all very cool. Everything comes together in a package which is chill but exploratory, and constantly interesting. DS Music is a VGM cover veteran, and I think this track contains some of his very best work. Bravo, my friend. There were a few artists who I knew would be producing great work for this competition, but Harrington's cover of Aquatic Ambience kind of came out of nowhere. All of the judges were flabbergasted to see this level of quality in the first video on his channel. Yep, that's right, this is his first VGM cover published on YouTube, and it showcases a really solid intuition for arrangement. I love the detail in the delay and the elegant control of the guitar solo. There's a rich sense of expression in Harrington's playing, which I'm looking forward to hearing in other contexts. Suffice it to say, we're all very keen to hear what Harrington uploads next. Welcome to the VGM community, mate. While the subjective tastes of the judges produced some pretty unique shortlists, there was one cover that was universally lauded. I'm very proud to present this year's grand prize winner.
Face to the sea, I hear the wind calling me to truth. Close your eyes and dream beneath the warmth of skies of blue.
Earth Kid's folk-inspired cover of Moonless Starry Night from Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles is an absolute marvel. It's exquisitely performed, meticulously mixed, and arranged with such a natural sense of flow and development. Earth Kid's vocal delivery is brilliantly expressive and highly polished, and that delicate recorded duo section made me teary, despite me not having any emotional connection to this game. Everywhere you look in this cover, there are professional details which, in my opinion, elevate this track far beyond its source material. Congratulations, Earth Kid. Your musicianship and creativity make you well deserving of first place.
Follow the path and you will see, together we can shine.
So ends this year's competition. Even if you don't agree with all of the judges' choices, I hope you can now see some of the rationale behind our decisions. Thanks for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. I'm looking forward to seeing what people create next year, and I'm hoping you'll join me again then.